Hi guys, so welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I want to talk about patch 11.1.5 and about one specific mount that might become a pretty good way for you to make some gold during this new patch. So this new mount is the Void-Crystal Panther, and as you can see, this is one of the new colors that are available for all the different Panthers that we were able to craft back in Mist of Pandaria with dual crafting. And so right now we have this new variation, which is the purple one. I think this is overall a very nice mount, even though there is nothing new on it, just the color that is different. But still, it's probably going to be something that a lot of people are going to try to get. And probably if you manage to get the recipe in order to craft this mount early on in the new patch, you will most likely be able to make quite a lot of gold. So this mount, as well as the design that will allow you to start crafting the mount, will be available through the new revisited Visions of Nazoth, which will be part of patch 11.1.5. And here, the one important thing that you need to take into consideration is the fact that this mount will actually be binds to Warband. So as you can see here, it says binds to Warband. And also, all the different materials that you will need in order to craft the mount will also be binds to Warband. So it means that basically everything related to this mount will be binds to your Warband. So here, of course, this is something that is pretty positive because it means that, for instance, you can just farm the different visions on multiple characters, and each time you get some of these different items, you can then send everything to one character, and you will then be able to craft the mount on this character. So I think this is something that is pretty good. Now, when it comes to how you can actually make some gold with the mount, it will, of course, limit a little bit this potential because you won't be able to directly sell the mount on the auction house. But there is still one way you will be able to make some gold with this mount, and as you will see, it might actually be pretty good for those of you who are only playing on 1 or 2 realms and who don't want to compete with all the goblins in the game who are probably going to craft this mount in high quantity early on in the patch, and we would have probably swamped the entire realms in your region with these different mounts. Basically, in order to make some gold with this mount, all you have to do is to use the crafting orders, because here you will have access to the mount. And so it means that anyone who doesn't have dual crafting or who doesn't have the design will need to use this option in order to craft the mount. And so it means that probably there's going to have a lot of different public and personal orders that will be available for this mount. So again, it's a little bit more limited than having some mounts you can just sell on the auction house, but at least here you will have maybe a little bit less competition because, again, this is something that is specific to your realm. So for instance, if you're playing on a medium pop or low pop realm, hopefully there's not going to have too many people with the design early on in the patch, and hopefully you will be the main person who will be able to make some gold with this mount. So again, I think this is at the same time something that is pretty good, and at the same time something that maybe is a little bit annoying because you will need to engage a lot with the crafting orders in order to make some gold with the new mount. Here, of course, there's probably also a lot of people who will simply go on some of the different realms where there's a lot of people who are crafting the mounts because, again, everything is bound to your warband, so you can easily just send everything to another realm and then craft the mount on this realm and then send back the mount on your main realm or learn it on that realm directly. So really, we'll have to wait and see how good this new mount will be for gold making. But I think it's important for you to keep that in mind and, for instance, to try and maybe already get the dual crafting profession before the release of patch 11.1.5 and to make it a priority to unlock the design and start crafting the mount as early as possible in this new patch. And here, my last tip for you will be to really use trade chat in order to advertise the fact that you can craft the mount, and like that you will hopefully receive a lot of personal orders. Again, here you will need to wait for players to actually have all the different materials in order to do the personal order or public order, because this is not something that you can provide. So for instance, you can play on 20 of your different arts, have tons of these different materials, and then craft a bunch of mounts for people. But again, I still really think that this is going to be a pretty interesting way to make some gold in this new patch. Now, when it comes to the design, apparently you will be able to drop it from a goblin that will be inside this blacksmithing hut at this specific location inside of the vision. And here, normally, you will need to go outside of the borders in order to kill these goblins. So you will definitely need to take a good healer with you. I've tried it myself, and basically I was dead after a few seconds. So I'm not sure if they're going to keep it like that or not. But probably it means that it will be a little bit challenging to get your hands on the design. And that's why, again, you should really make it a priority as soon as the new patch is there in order for you to start crafting these mounts as soon as possible. But of course, it's probably going to take a little bit of time also for all the different players to gather all the different materials. And so most likely you won't be able to craft the mount directly on day one. Again, we are not exactly sure how you will be able to get your hands on these different materials in the first place. So I think we'll have to wait and see. But again, I think it's important for you to just have all this information with you in mind before the release of the patch. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos. And in the meantime, I wish you all a great day. Bye!